The sewing machine hummed quietly in my basement studio as I put the finishing touches on another knockoff for my Aunt Victoria's boutique. Upstairs, I could hear her showing clients around, her voice carrying that perfect mix of condescension and false warmth that had made Chen Fashion House famous. Of course, these are all original designs, she was saying. We would never stock anything common. I smiled to myself, knowing that half the boutique's bestsellers were my creations, though Victoria would never admit it. I'm Maria Chen, and for the past 2 years, I've been living a double life in the fashion industry. Most people know me as Victoria's niece who helps with alterations in the basement of Chen Fashion House, Chicago's most exclusive boutique. What they don't know is that I'm also MC Laurent, the mysterious designer whose pieces have been quietly appearing in major fashion magazines and on celebrity Instagram posts. Not even Victoria knows that the cheap knockoffs she forces me to create at cut-rate prices are actually original designs from my own line, designs that sell for thousands in Paris and Milan under my other name. It started 2 years ago when I returned from Fashion Institute of Technology in New York, degree in hand and dreams of launching my own line. Victoria, who'd taken over the family business after my parents' accident, had other ideas. Design school. She'd laughed, examining my portfolio with barely concealed disdain. Darling, the Chen family has been in fashion for 3 generations. We don't need trendy New York ideas here. You can work in alterations until you learn our way of doing things. What Victoria didn't know was that I'd already sold my graduation collection to a boutique in Paris under the name N.C. Laurent. When those pieces started appearing in French Vogue, Victoria actually showed the magazine to me, pointing out the kind of elegance we should aspire to. I took the job in her basement, swallowing my pride. Not because I needed it, MC Laurent was already profitable, but because I wanted to understand how Victoria had turned my parents' once innovative fashion house into a stagnant, overpriced boutique trading on past glory. The arrangement worked for both of us, though not in a way Victoria imagined. She got knockoffs of trending designs at basement prices, never realizing they were actually MC Laurent originals. I got a front row seat to how she ran the business, including her increasingly desperate attempts to maintain the boutique's exclusive image. These new pieces are good, she'd say grudgingly each month, examining my work. Almost like the real ones. But of course, our clients can tell the difference. They certainly could. My knockoffs consistently outsold the actual designer pieces Victoria imported at premium prices. She attributed it to good copying skills, never suspecting she was selling original MC Laurent designs at a fraction of their true market value. Meanwhile, my real business grew. Celebrities and influencers began seeking out MC Laurent pieces, drawn to their unique blend of classic elegance and modern innovation. Fashion blogs buzzed about the mysterious designer who never appeared in public but whose clothes were becoming more coveted than Chanel. Victoria remained obsessed with discovering MC Laurent's identity, especially after several major department stores dropped Chen Fashion House to carry the MC Laurent line exclusively. How dare they? She'd raged, pacing the boutique. Some nobody from nowhere takes our clients. The Chen name has stood for luxury for 50 years. I kept quiet, focusing on my sewing. The boutique's finances were worse than Victoria admitted. She'd been coasting on my parents' reputation, marking up mediocre pieces while missing every new trend in the industry. Only my knockoffs kept the lights on, though she'd never acknowledged that. Then came the invitation that would change everything. New York Fashion Week wanted MC Laurent to headline the opening night. The same night Victoria had scheduled a major showcase for Chen Fashion House's New Direction, a collection she ordered me to copy from various designers. What she didn't know was that half the pieces she asked me to knock off were actually my own designs from MC Laurent's upcoming collection. I accepted both invitations. Victoria's showcase was scheduled for 7 p.m. The Fashion Week opening was at 9 p.m. It would be cutting it close. But I had a plan. The week before the showcase, Victoria was in rare form, micromanaging every detail. She'd invited all of Chicago's fashion elite, several major magazine editors, and even some European buyers. This was her bid to restore Chen Fashion House to its former glory. Don't mess this up, she warned me, examining the pieces I'd prepared. These need to look perfect. Our reputation depends on it. They'll look exactly like the originals, I promised, truthfully. The night of the showcase arrived. Victoria had transformed the boutique into a runway setting, with every major name in Chicago fashion in attendance. I watched from my usual spot in the basement as she prepared to present her new collection. What happened next would shake the fashion world to its core. All it took was one person in the audience to recognize a piece, not as a knockoff, but as an unreleased MC Laurent original. And that person happened to be Maria Chen, my mother's oldest friend and the editor-in-chief of Vogue. As the first model walked the runway in Victoria's new design, Diana's eyebrows shot up. She reached into her bag and pulled out her phone, quickly scrolling through something. I knew exactly what she was looking at. Advanced photos of MC Laurent's Fashion Week collection, which only a handful of top editors had seen. Victoria was midway through her speech about Chen Fashion House's innovative vision when Diana stood up. "Interesting collection, Victoria," she said, her voice cutting through the room. "Especially since I'm looking at these exact designs in MC Laurent's confidential Fashion Week portfolio." The room froze. Victoria's face went pale. That's impossible," she stammered. "These are our original designs." Diana smiled, a sharp expression I remembered from my childhood. "Are they? Because I'm wearing MC Laurent right now, this exact dress, in fact. And I've been wearing their designs for months." She turned to the audience. "In fact, I believe several of us here are wearing MC Laurent pieces. Pieces we bought from boutiques in Paris, Milan, New York." She paused. "And some, interestingly, from this very store, at remarkably different prices." Victoria gripped the podium, her knuckles white. But Diana wasn't finished. Would the real MC Laurent care to take a bow? That was my cue. I took a deep breath and reached for the garment bag I'd kept hidden in the basement. It was time to step out of the shadows. But what happened next would surprise even me. I changed quickly into one of my signature pieces, a black evening dress with architectural details that had been featured in every major fashion magazine. Taking a deep breath, I walked up the basement stairs and into the spotlight. "Hello, Aunt Victoria," I said calmly. "I believe you're presenting my collection." The silence in the room was absolute. Victoria's face went from white to red to purple in rapid succession. "You?" she finally managed. "This is impossible. You make knockoffs in a basement." Maria Chen stepped forward, her Vogue editor authority filling the room. "Actually, Victoria, she makes original designs that sell for thousands in Paris. The real question is why she's been selling them to you at basement prices." I pulled out my phone, projecting images onto the boutique's display screen. "Let me show you exactly what's been happening at Chen Fashion House." Side by side, the evidence was undeniable. Every knockoff Victoria had ordered from me appeared next to its high-end retail listing as an MC Laurent original. Sales figures showed my designs outselling everything else in the boutique 4-1. "The pieces you've been selling as cheap copies," I continued, "they're originals. The ones you've been importing at premium prices, those are the actual knockoffs. You've been so busy protecting your image that you forgot what made Chen Fashion House great in the first place: innovation, creativity, and respect for design." Victoria lunged for the podium. "This is a trick. She's trying to steal our reputation." "Our reputation." I clicked to the next slide. "Let's talk about reputation. Here are the boutique's real financial records." The numbers told a stark story. Chen Fashion House had been losing money for years, kept afloat only by the high volume of sales from my knockoff line. Victoria had been running the business into the ground while living on its dwindling prestige. Mother and father built this house on original design, I said, my voice carrying to every corner of the room. They believed in nurturing new talent and pushing boundaries, but you've turned it into a cheap imitation of what it once was. Diana stepped forward again. "I knew your parents well, Victoria. They would be ashamed of what you've done to their legacy, but they would be incredibly proud of their daughter." The European buyers were already approaching me, cards extended. The press was frantically taking notes. Victoria stood frozen, watching her carefully maintained facade crumble. Then someone started clapping. It was Carmen Rivera, the legendary designer who had been my mother's best friend. "Maria has her mother's talent," Carmen announced. "I recognized it in her student work years ago. That's why I've been secretly backing MC Laurent's production in Paris." Victoria whirled on her. "You knew? All this time?" "Of course I knew," Carmen replied. Someone had to protect Isabella's daughter while you tried to crush her spirit, just like you tried to push Isabella out years ago. That was news to me. What? Carmen's eyes softened. Your mother never told you. Before the accident, Victoria had been trying to force her out of the company. Isabella was planning to start her own line. She wanted to return to real design, not just chasing trends. Pieces clicked into place. The late nights I remembered, the whispered arguments, the mysterious appointments. My mother had been planning her own escape from Victoria's toxic control. Well, I said, straightening my shoulders, I guess I finished what she started. The next hour was a blur of interviews, congratulations, and business cards. The European buyers wanted exclusive contracts. American department stores were calling their head offices. Maria Chen was already planning a Vogue cover story. But I wasn't finished. I turned back to Victoria, who stood alone in the chaos she created. You have a choice, I said quietly. Step down gracefully. Let me restore Chen Fashion House to what it should be, and you can keep your shares as a silent partner. Or fight me, and I'll take everything, including the proof of your financial mismanagement, to the board. You wouldn't dare, she hissed. I'm family. Yes, I am family, which is why I'm offering you a chance to save face, more than you ever gave my mother. 2 weeks later, Chen Fashion House announced a restructuring. Victoria retired to pursue other interests. I became creative director, merging my MC Laurent line with the family brand. The New York Fashion Week show was a triumph. I presented both under my own name, combining Chen Fashion House's heritage with MC Laurent's innovation. The collection sold out in pre-orders. The basement workshop? I kept it, transforming it into an incubator space for young designers. Every season, we select 3 promising students to develop their collections under mentorship. Victoria's old office became a design studio where creativity matters more than pedigree. Last month, a young designer came in for our mentorship program. She had talent but no connections, dreams but no resources. Victoria's replacement would have sent her to the alterations department. I hired her as a design assistant instead. Sometimes, I told her, the greatest designs come from unexpected places, even basements. Chen Fashion House is thriving again, true to my parents' original vision. We're known for discovering new talent, for pushing boundaries, for respecting creativity in all its forms. Our pieces sell in the same boutiques that once rejected me, but now they pay full price. Victoria? She moved to Florida, where she occasionally gives interviews about her years leading Chen Fashion House. I let her keep that illusion. Success, as my mother always said, is the best revenge. The black dress I wore on Revelation night hangs in the boutique's heritage collection, next to my mother's designs. Under it there's a small plaque that reads, "Sometimes the most powerful statement is the one you make silently, stitch by stitch, until the right moment arrives." Maria Chen still wears MC Laurent designs, though now everyone knows who makes them. She's become a mentor, helping me navigate the fashion world's politics while staying true to my vision. Last week, I found my old sketchbooks from those basement days. Designs that Victoria had dismissed as amateur are now selling in every major fashion capital. But more importantly, they're selling in the boutique my parents built under the name they made great. The fashion industry is changing, slowly but surely. Old hierarchies are falling, new voices are rising. And sometimes, the best way to change a broken system is to work within it, quietly creating beauty in a basement until the moment comes to step into the light. After all, true style isn't about labels or prices. It's about vision, craftsmanship, and the courage to be original, even when others try to make you a copy. Every morning, I walk through the boutique my parents built, past the young designers working on their collections, and I smile. Because sometimes the best designs, like the best revenge, are the ones that take time to stitch together perfectly.